Hey guys, it's Kurza or Vegas here. Today I'm going to be teaching you about developing and calling a default. Now this is intended for full teams. Pugs are mostly just rushes and working picks while you call on the fly, meaning you'll be taking the strat down to the most basic level. Once you've called on a map for long enough, you'll know how to react to most situations and modify your strat based on what you know works. Trying new things is mostly something that you'll want to happen in scrims or pugs and not league matches. So what is a default? A default is a strat that you can run multiple times in a match that just gives you map control. It's fairly safe, so you don't end up, or you shouldn't end up being down in numbers most of the time. And it's a strat where you can hit multiple places from the same position, or from the position that it puts you in. So I'm going to use Brooklyn as an example. If you've played Brooklyn a lot, which I'm sure you have, you know the most basic CT setup is 2-1-2. Now if you've played Brooklyn a lot in team environments, you'll know that the other standard setup is one rifle A, one rifle safely spotting mid, and your last two rifles plus your scope at B. And that could be done by maybe having a rifle playing pillar watching B connector, a rifle inside sight watching ruins, and your scope watching heaven. Now, on T-side, a normal default should give you control of the most sensitive areas of the map, that being mid and B connector. The reason for this is that it gives you the option to hit either bomb site, and it also allows you to cut off the CT rotation from multiple places. So, since you're given mid control with one simple and safe smoke, your objective would be to control B connector. If the CTs have control of beacon, they have the ability to flank and rotate through mid. They can lurk inside for any fast B main rushes, and you can't really hit B in that situation. That being known, you are going to find that most pro teams will go for mid and beacon control as their default. Now, this is something that you can develop when you're better at strat calling and analysis, but when you're first starting out, you'll probably just want to watch some pro games and steal their information. Now, there's nothing wrong with stealing info from the pros. They do play this game for a living, and they are most likely doing everything the right way. The thing is, every team does do things differently. Every team has their own flair to how they play the game, and your team should have its own eventually. Even if you steal a strat directly from a pro team, you should try and make it your own in some way. This is important because each strat should be tailored to your team. Think about how you want to get to the position you want to be in the middle of the round. This is important because you need to consider how you're just going to execute that default and what strats are available to you after you are set up in that default. So for your default, you don't want to have 3 people in a main and 2 in A connector, because then that completely ruins your chances of hitting B. You can't really be flexible with that. Think about how your team plays. Like playing with a scope, maybe you want to send the scope slowly somewhere to get an opening pick with a rifle behind for a trade. But with 5 rifles, maybe you'll play a little bit faster, quicker to get into your defaults, and maybe take a little more aggressive gunfights. If the beginning of your default, looks like some of your other strats, then it is hard for the opposing team to guess what that strat is. Because, if you run that default a couple of times, they obviously will start to pick up on it. And say you set up for, an actual proper strat, maybe not getting into the default right away. If the other team sees that, they will, read it as you just setting up for your default again. Their guard might be slightly lowered because they're waiting for something out of the ordinary. You got them used to your default, and now because of that, you can make them act in the way you want when it's time to actually hit a bomb site. Always consider ways that you can make your strat more successful. If it's not working, don't be stubborn and keep running the same strat. You are just going to throw away rounds and throw away, precious time and experience that you could be putting towards making your default better and winning those key rounds. Watching the Asian pros can be of great help, so you can stay on top of how the meta of the game shifts and some of the ways that they play the game different. That's all I have for today. Thank you for watching. Hope you learned something new. Drop a like, and I'll see you in the next video.